This is the meter, take a look at it, take a measurement. They should bring out a piece of paper with the schematics of the meter and the design of what you want.
Well, I.
There you go.
used to see-
She's been known to do that, just so you know.
No,
Think you're a pen?
no, but I
I
haven't
placed
got
that line
the one,
through
but
the
this
wall
one
because
might
it was
have
all crushed
one.
inside.
Brandon, when in doubt, there's
She-
about 12 pens in my, when in doubt, there's about 12 pens in my purse.
When
Just ask.
the house burned down and they used an excavator.
Okay, we're good.
I'm calling a meeting to order. Attendance, please.
Supervisor Holchurch,
Here.
Councilmember Artisana,
Here.
Councilmember Becker,
Here.
Councilmember Courtney,
Here.
Councilmember Dysinger.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the public comment, we have Mark LaRue up first. You want to step up?
Good afternoon. My name is Mark LaRue. My family's been in discussion with the town for the past year about preserving 100 acres of land we own located just south of the village of Sugarloaf between Kirby Pond and Ridge Road. And I would like to briefly address some of the comments I've heard in previous board meetings about this land. I've heard one former council member state that they heard there was no perk and it was bad land. Well, we've had soil testing done, and there is a high clay content in some of the crop, not all the crop. Other than that, there is nothing wrong with this land, and if you're talking about preserving open space, it's a sort of a moot point. I've heard current board members question both the appraisal and why we haven't sold the land yet. Ackerley and Hubble did the appraisal, and it came back at 1.3 million, which doesn't seem to be out of line for 100 acres in Orange County, considering the price of real estate today. Regarding selling the land, we have had multiple offers and inquiries. Everything from home builders, solar, and a firm that wanted to build an enormous greenhouse. My point being, we did not come to the town asking you to buy it because we can't sell it. This board ran on a platform of land preservation, and my family thought it would be the perfect fit. I've heard some of you state that you'd rather wait to purchase the town. Well, my question is that land even available and at what cost? If the town were to receive money from the Orange County Land Open Space Fund, this could potentially pay up to 50% for this 100 acres. The final cost of the town would be about the same of what many single-family homes are selling for in the town today. The time to act on land preservation is now, because very soon it's going to be too late. And I believe that the taxpayers should make the final decision on preserving this land now, and not the feelings of few select board members. And I have a petition, the 117 names on this one and another 67 online, signed by the Chester taxpayers who feel the same way. And finally, at your convenience, I would like to offer an open invitation to the board and come out and at least look at the land. I think that once you see it, you will realize what an asset to the town it can be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next, we have Jake Laura. Jake Laura? Oh, yeah, this is for, no public comment? Got it. All right. Are there any other public comment at this time? Is there anything online? All right, seeing none, then we will move on. We have everybody got a chance to look at the minutes from 1:22. Are there any comments or questions?
No.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion? I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Summary of bills. Give me 1 second here. We have one from February 4th. Today, the town received $10 million in property taxes from the receiver taxes. The total abstract for February 4th and 5th was $3,526,900.42. And then on (2/12) this week, the town will be paying bills in the amount of $321,623.83. Some utilities and contractual bills were added to the abstract. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
No.
Right, move on. Next, we have a public hearing on the unsafe building order, Chapter 38 for 19 Cardinal Lane. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Liz, you want to take it away?
Certainly. On January 22nd, 2025, by a vote of 4 members voting aye, 0 members voting against, and 1 member absent, the board adopted a resolution declaring property at 19 Cardinal Lane to be unsafe, and further set a public hearing for today's date at 3 p.m. Pursuant to Chapter 38, which is your unsafe buildings chapter. I previously submitted to the town clerk a affidavit of service for in-person service on 2 of the tenants, and then substitute service, which is by posting and by certified mail in accordance with Chapter 38 to Linda this afternoon, and that is on file with the town clerk. The purpose of today is for your building inspector, Andrew Concherino, to present his case, and then members of the public as well as occupants and the property owner will be given a chance to speak as well. With that, I'd like to call our building inspector, Andrew Concherino, up to the podium, please.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. Would you please state your name for the record?
Andrew Concherino,
And what is your position with the town of Chester?
building inspector.
Are you familiar with property known as 19 Cardinal Lane?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, who owns 19 Cardinal Lane?
Joseph Bender.
Okay, and you've provided me with a copy of this map. I'm going to mark this Exhibit 1. I'm going to hand this to you. Do you recognize this map?
Yes.
And is that your handwriting?
Yes.
This property has a total of four structures, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to go through each of the structures. The structure known as the main house, is there any issue with that house in connection with these proceedings?
No.
Okay. I'd like to discuss Building 2. How many units are in Building 2?
2.
Okay, is Unit 2A occupied?
No.
Is Unit 2B occupied?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, do you know who the tenant is?
Karen Murray.
And was the tenant personally served in this matter?
Yes.
And can you tell me your observations concerning 2B?
My observations to be, it appears to be that she has no electricity, which is served by extension cords running from 3B to 2B, and she has running water. For my observation.
Have you had an opportunity to speak with that particular tenant?
Yes.
And did that tenant acknowledge that she does not currently have electricity?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, how long has that unit been without electricity?
Since November, so around 3 months now.
I'm going to hand you a stack of 4 pictures. Can you take a look at those pictures? Did you take those pictures?
Yes.
Do they represent a true and accurate depiction of the property as you observed it?
Yes.
And can you describe for the town board what's in those pictures?
Extension cords running from one apartment to the other.
Okay, I've marked these pictures collectively, and there's a total of 4, as 2. Under the New York State Uniform Building Code, are units allowed to receive electricity through extension cords? In your opinion as a certified building inspector, is it your opinion that the property is in violation of the New York State Building Code?
Yes.
I'd like to move to Building 3. To your knowledge, how many units are in Building 3?
4.
Okay, is Unit 3A occupied?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, who is the tenant?
Risa Mohammed.
Was that tenant personally served in this matter?
No.
Can you advise how she was served?
Posted on the door and then certified now.
Thank you. Can you please tell me your observations concerning that unit?
That unit from what appeared to be from the we were told through the phone was that she has no water but has electricity.
So just to make the record clear, the building department received a complaint that there's no water
Correct.
serving that property? And you've been unable to confirm that water is present on that property, is that correct?
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, is Unit 3B occupied?
No.
In addition to the water, have you observed any other issues with Building 3?
The extension cord running from that building to
And those are the same extension cords that we discussed concerning the pictures marked as Exhibit 2?
Yep.
Thank you. If a unit has no water, is that unit in violation of the New York State Uniform Building Code?
yes. Violation.
Is Unit 3C, 3D occupied?
Yes.
Is it occupied, are they occupied as one residence or are they 2 separate units?
It appears to be one occupant.
Do you know who that tenant is?
Najee Stiff.
And was that tenant personally served in this matter?
Yes. At apartment 3C.
Upon your review of the building department file, are there any building permits on file for units 3C or 3D?
No.
Are there any certificates of occupancy?
No.
I'm gonna hand you this document. Can you tell me what that document is?
A certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
For 19 Cardinal Lane.
Is that a true and accurate copy of the certificate of occupancy as it is maintained in the building department's files?
Yes.
And can I ask you to read the highlighted passage?
The lower level of the building is to be used as the garage for farm equipment / mechanical room / employee farm worker bathroom and kitchenette. No sleeping rooms or bedrooms are permitted.
I'm gonna mark this as Exhibit 3. Are units 3C and 3D located in the lower level?
Yes.
Is that, in your opinion, in violation of the certificate of occupancy?
Yes.
I'm gonna present one more thing to you. Do you recognize this?
Yes. Yep.
Can you tell the town board what document I've handed you?
Zoning boards of appeal resolution.
Okay. And if you review the conditions associated with that resolution, are there any conditions relating to the construction of Building 3?
What was your question? Lisa?
Here, I'll hand it back to me. Was that variance issued on the basis that that buildings 3, units A and B be operated by farm workers only?
Yes.
And in connection with that resolution, does the building department's file contain a deed restriction to that effect, that in the event that the property is not used for agricultural purposes, that the building be removed.
That's on there. That would be removed, yes.
So I'm marking as Exhibit 4, the Town of Chester Zoning Board of Appeals resolution, which was received by the town clerk on October 27, 2010, restricting the use of Building 3 to agricultural only. I'm also marking, which I forgot to put as Exhibit 5, the deed restriction signed by the property owner and then Sound Supervisor Stephen M. Newhouse, which recorded that deed restriction on the land records. Based upon your observation, is the property being used for agricultural purposes?
No, here's one.
I'd like to address what's been identified as the barn. The notice of violation discusses a barn. Why is the barn an issue?
Because the barn is used as habitable space.
Has a building permit or other application been filed with your office?
No.
To your knowledge, has this property previously been posted?
Yes, by the previous building inspector, Alexis Verhoeven.
I'm going to hand you a document. Is that the order, is that a true and accurate copy of the order to vacate that was found in the building department file?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to mark that as Exhibit 6. Is it your opinion that buildings 2, 3, and the barn are unsafe as defined by the Town of Chester Town Code?
Yes.
And in addition, I'd like to mark as Exhibit 7, the board's resolution of January 22nd, 2025, and the public notice that was served. Linda, I believe your office also had that published in the paper.
Yes.
And as Exhibit 8, I'd like to mark the order to remedy that was served on November 18th, 2024. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Pantori?
No.
No.
None at this time.
All right. At this point, if you can just step back, I will ask if there are any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks.
I don't see anybody signed on the paper here. Is there anybody who would like to speak during this public hearing? Yes, please stand up and please state your name and your address. Yeah, there's a sheet right there. Could you just speak into the microphone?
Larissa Mohammed, 19 Cleveland Lane, apartment 9. And I'm Karen Murray, same address, 2B. Our apartment that Joe Becker rented, is in wonderful condition. Beautiful apartments that we built.
When Joe rented these apartments to me, or leased this apartment to me 4 years ago, the apartment's in great condition. We have beautiful heated floors, jacuzzi bathtubs, 20 feet ceilings. It's not that we don't have any water. I called the building department the day that Joe shut off the water. I have yet to receive a response from the building department. Not once has he ever reached out to me in regards to that. The cops were there, and they let me know that it's a temporary situation, that Joe is fixing the water and the water will be turned back on. That's all I've heard about it since, until the building department inspector just posted notes on my door. In however long he's been here, I've never heard from him outside of these posts that he's put on my door.
And my electric, there's nothing wrong with my electric. The landlord shut off my electric. And there was a boiler room that I could turn them back on. So now he's done something with the main house, even when we made a statement to the police and we had said, there's an issue. They had said sometimes with the main house, they have because they control my water, and I know they control, because if they do anything, they'll call over and say, I'm going to shut the electric off, just so you know. So even though I have my own separate, so I mean, I understand everything that's going on, and yes, that it is a big issue, but I've been here 6 years. I don't know anything about Joe Bender and how he pays his taxes and what he does. So he's angry with the town, and he tells us everything is fine, whatever. We don't ever get a clear picture. And then he just shuts our services off. So, I mean, we're both at the point where we need to get out of there, but I just don't think it's right how that was handled. And I even went to the state, both of us, and they said, we've never got an eviction notice. We've never even been told what's going on. Just these constant, your building's not safe. The building's not safe because the landlord turned everything off for no reason, because he's angry. And it's irresponsible, and I wouldn't think it's legal, according to what the Attorney General told me when I spoke with them directly. So we just want to, I mean, if we could have our electric and stuff and get out, that's the plan, what we're doing. But apparently nobody can get him to take care of anything. So we understand.
Ms. Murray, if I may ask, do you dispute that there are extension cords providing
No,
power?
I do not. It was freezing. He left me there he shut my electric off. I asked him to just put the electric back on. It was below zero. What am I supposed to do? Freeze to death? I have an animal. I live there. I pay my rent. I do everything. We pay all the utilities that we're not even supposed to pay. He's supposed to pay. He's got his issues. That's fine, but we shouldn't be put in this situation.
And Ms. Mohammed, you would indicate, do you currently have or do not have running water in the unit?
Not currently. I use the water from her building.
Mm-hmm.
I was told by the building department when this first happened, the original inspector that came to us, Alexa, she came over. She was very nice. She just let us know what's happening. She said, just sit tight. We're going to give you guys an eviction notice, and then you'll have plenty of notice of when your date to move out. And that's what I've been doing since.
Me too.
Did you receive the notices that were issued in the vacate notices from 2022 that were posted on the property?
I'm
No,
not sure
what
you're-
vacate? Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either. When I called the state, they said that you have to have an eviction notice.
Yeah.
And even some of the police officers have said, well, they're just not leaving, but they've served eviction notices. No, we've never been served a notice.
Well, a cease and desist order, just for the record, is different from,
Right,
and in order to vacate, it's different from an eviction proceeding.
right.
An eviction notice between you and your landlord is a private civil matter.
Mm-hmm,
This is a code enforcement matter.
mm-hmm.
So the file does contain the notice that was posted, that has been submitted as an exhibit to the property. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you'd like to speak? Yes. Please state your name and address for the record when you get up to the microphone. Michelle, is there any way you can fix the microphone? Please speak
Hi.
directly into the microphone.
Okay. My name is Phyllis Capiaghi. I can spell that for you. Capiaghi. I'm the current tenant that lives in the house that is the legal house on the property. So I wanted to have an opportunity just to share some feedback as a outsider looking in at this situation. We've lived there for about 4 years, almost 4 years in April. When we moved in for the first year and a half, things were fine. Joe, as far as our landlord go, was very accommodating. We had no problems with him as a landlord. And I had no problems with our neighbors, our tenants who are currently here. And then the unfortunate situation happened when this young man, Anthony, who moved in, Joe has a big heart, unfortunately, and maybe not good judgment. And he had a young man come in, had a girlfriend there, and they were having fights outside in the driveway, beating each other up all the time. So someone on the property call the police. I think it happened multiple times. And then with that, one of the police went into the apartment and realized this wasn't a legal apartment, called Alexa, who was a building inspector at that time. The next thing we heard, Alexa came through without Joe knowing. He lives in the city most of the time, but came through and slapped notices on all the tenants' doors, knocked on their door, talked to them and said, you are in illegal apartments, you need to stop paying rent, and you need to get out in 15 days or whatever. That was approximately 2.5 years ago. As you see, they're still here. Joe has had multiple opportunities, he thought, to, try to do what the town initiated in telling them they had to get out. He would not have initiated their getting out. This was put upon him by the town. So he, at one point, had eviction notices on the door somewhere around, I don't know, it was at least 2 years ago. And again, formal eviction notices, they did not leave. He then was told by the judge, and I was there to hear her say this, just change the locks. Like, just get them out, just change the locks. What's the big deal? So Joe, listening to what the judge told him, went and tried to change the locks. The police were called by the tenants. They came in, told Joe he could not do that. Then there were other opportunities that Joe tried to do what the town was telling him to do. Mind you, in 2.5 years, Joe has gone from having an income, owning a farm, having his life in order, to being a complete demise of his financial situations. He's living in the city in a home for men. He's supported by the state. He has no income other than what we give him as legal renters. And so he has zero money to take care of anything legal related to getting a lawyer, getting, anyone to help him to evict people that shouldn't be there, that the town initiated, telling them they had to get out. It was not his desire for them to get out. So then, of course, he's in a struggle with his tenants because he's supposed to get them out. Every time he comes and talks to the judge says, why aren't they out? What's going on? And his hands are tied. So then another time he tried to, he thought, okay, I'm gonna close the fence to the driveway because maybe if people have to walk around, there'll be inconvenience and they'll decide it's time to leave. Again, the police were called. He was told that he could not do that he was gonna be in trouble, even threatened jail at times if he would do that. So his hands have been completely tied. He's lived there for 37 years. He's built a horse business. And as an outsider looking in, as a legal tenant, I don't have anything against anybody around me, but I am incredulous at how this has happened to a man who's been a 37-year businessman in the area. And I'll tell you, he does have a short fuse. There are times when he's been triggered and he goes off and he's cursed and he's made his distress known. So he has definitely had his moments, but he's never done anything physical. He's never done anything violent. He's had people smash the windows on his barn. He had someone stick a ball of material into an exhaust pipe, trying to harm him. He's physically, and he's here today because I'm here. He will not come to the farm unless myself or my husband are here. He's fearful of people harming him. And so that's the way he lives. He lives in a room, in a men's shelter, so to speak, in New York City. He has health issues. He's been back and forth to the hospital multiple times over the years I've known him. I myself am a psychiatric nurse manager by profession for many years. My husband is a cancer nurse. We're like reasonable, everyday people. I've tried to be kind to my tenants. We clean off the snow from their car. We try to do nice things, just to show we don't have anything against anybody. But I'm looking at what has happened to this man, and it looks to me like the town has completely taken him down. And I'm just saying that's what it appears to. As an outside person, I don't know the laws, I don't know all the details, but it looks to me that we have ruined this man's life. And that's really what I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I don't think there are any
No.
questions at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Is there anybody else that'd like to speak?
I'm Joe Bender, am I supposed to say something?
Only if you want to.
I don't want to go on too much, you know, because I get lost.
Well, if you'd like to speak, you can step up to the podium.
My name is Joe Bender. I live at 19 Cardinal Lane. It's been my life dream. I took care of my kids there. My wife did live there. She passed away there. I had gone to every town hall meeting I had to go to in order to build what I built. I never did anything without permission. I learned so much from the town because of how little they knew about what a farm was in New York. The town, I don't disrespect my town, but I don't really have to listen to anything they have to say because they don't really know what I'm doing. I put Sugarloaf on the map. I'm an importer of horses. I would work with the state of New York. I don't work with the building inspector on the acreage. I have an in-house feeding program. I have land that the horses play on. I have riders. I don't have migrant workers that pick oranges that you all think that I'm supposed to have. That's not what I have. I have riders, trainers, judges, all kinds of things. But it's my property. And I ran a business with the state of New York and filed the tax return every single year. And did all that I was supposed to do. So what I'm just trying to say is that at some point, 37 years, I end up with the stroke. I didn't live in New York City. I don't want to live in New York City. My kids went to school. I got HIV and got sick with cancer and had a lot of problems health-wise. And I'm in the middle of the pandemic. I cannot sell horses by governor of New York. There's no horse shows. So I'm a dealer. I buy and sell. Best thing for me to do is get the horses off the property and put them somewhere else. Lease them or do whatever I do and not be responsible for that and not worry about employees and not worry about anything else but my health right now. And that the apartments, there was changes. I had an investor moving in. I went through this when Joe Mochuk came as well, you know, as a building inspector. The building inspectors see my property and they said, where did all these houses come from? How did this happen? Well, I went to the state, but it's the same thing with the state where the building inspector of this town, you know, and I don't know who you are, but I know you're a good guy because I get your information that has come to me. You have never come at me like any other building inspector here. I'm in the hospital and I have a building inspector doing an investigation with police on my property, going through apartments, telling people where they can live and where they can't live now. Doing a reorganization and saying I committed crimes that I'm going to jail. You know, it's like that. It was outrageously crazy. When you can even read on the laminate board that's supposed to be outside the building inspector's office where Water Farm is in New York. It says if you're unhappy to do a 305A review, the town then submits a document to me for a review, not an investigation, not telling people to move. I wasn't allowed to threaten people's homestead. Why are the town threatening people's homestead on my property? That's a governor's law. You know what I'm trying to say? And the Attorney General's office called me and laughed and said to me, you should sue your town immediately. This is crazy. They didn't come after me. These people can say whatever they want to say. They haven't paid an electric bill because I have $12,000 worth of electric. It's in my name. They've never paid an electric bill. What they did and they have been doing is altering and turning every which way they could when they had contracts with Bettini 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if anything ever broke, anything, they are running my buildings. I can't even get in them. They changed the locks. I can't get to the boilers of my buildings. I can't get in anywhere. I can't even live there because it's so threatening. The town police have not called me back. The police chief has not called me back yet. It's been 2.5 years. I call almost every day. I've called your office as an attorney. In Warwick, you know, to speak. No one will speak to me unless I'm an attorney. Okay, well, you know what? I went through the attorney in the beginning. I also did evict the people. You did, and then you had the people evicted, and there's this gap. I just got to get this out because maybe you could all fill in the pieces because I have done this eviction. I've done it 3 times. I've done it with the town 3 times. with the town's employees. I can prove that. They've been posted, they've been put up. They know what's going on. The thing is that we never seem to get past in the town court this going to the sheriff. Well, if you tell people to get out because the building's no good, how could you raise my taxes $30,000? If you tell the people that live there that they can't live there because it's deemed dangerous, why are you letting them run extension cords? If they come to court and they tell the judge, oh, I don't live there or work there, the case dismissed. But at the end of it all, even with restraining orders that I had to sign, because they said I have foiled from the police department, from the building inspector's office, I don't get anything. But the facts are that no matter what, I'm not in charge of all this. You all have taken over. And this is like a shelter system, like for me, because I'm supposed to just pay the bills and I'm supposed to let the people live there. And were told not to pay rent and they don't have to pay rent. So what I'm trying to get at is that then I go through all the process of what the town is telling me. I need an order of remedy. You send me one. They didn't send me one for 2 years. I asked, what am I supposed to do with these tickets? A conversation about converting a farm. What kind of ticket is that? Ag and Markets ticket. Ag and Markets against the law. I broke the law. What law? Why is it? When did Chester start writing out tickets for Ag and Markets? Why didn't we do the 305A review? Why are you coming at me and running my business and my farm and my life and taking my dreams and everything I've done for 37 years and just piddling it out and not explaining why I never get to the next after this what has been done? And the police even do it. They remove these people from this property. Why don't we go to the sheriff? How do I get to the sheriff? The sheriff tells me the judge has to get me to the sheriff. She has to sign a paper. She says she don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I mean, and she did tell me to change the locks. I just want to clarify that I'm not in New York City because that's where I wanted to be. I was in New York City because I was sick and the pandemic was on. And I came out of the pandemic, my mortgage paid, I can prove it. I came out of with every tenant, getting along with every single tenant, having not a problem with anyone. And I didn't remove Anthony from my place because I was afraid that kid would commit suicide or there would be something bad happen with that boy. And I felt that the town should take care of this young couple that have domestic violence, not me. They should have somebody send them to counseling. It's disgusting what's happening. It was sad. But I'm not in charge of that because the governor said you can't threaten anyone's homestead. And it was an illegal apartment. I built it. It was a garage. And I turned it into an apartment. And that's the only thing I did wrong. Everything else I didn't do wrong. I mean, it's a farm living. There was a reason for everyone and why they were there, for how long they were there. They can say whatever they want to say today, but everybody had a reason why they were there and why they were a part of the farm. However, Alexa, she didn't know what she was doing. I don't want to fight with Alexa. I had my own fight just trying to be alive. Okay? So I don't care about this farm anymore. Tell me, walk away from it. Why should I walk away with that? My mortgage rate is 1.78%. My mortgage payment is like $541 a month. Okay, so I wasn't having any trouble there. I had trouble after I had to pay everyone's bills every month, every month, and be disrespected. And all my windows are broken where I live. I have no heat. I haven't had heat in 5 years almost. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not up here living it up. I did everything I could do to get out of the pandemic, and I did. I got out, and then why didn't the town help me then? Why are you coming at me the way that I have to evict these people now? You started a hate crime against me. I have never had a problem with any of them. I buried Karen's cat. I make a lasagna. I give them all the lasagna. The vegan people are the vegan people. I'm not vegan. I like meat. You know what I mean? Like, you do what you want to do. No one had a problem prior to October of 2022. Because if there was, the way they are now, they would have been there. But they didn't want to pay rent because the town told them they don't have to pay rent. Why you don't have to move unless you get an eviction notice from Bill Bender. I never even wanted to evict them. I wasn't after them. And if I was going to do it, I would never have gone about it the way you all did. Meaning the town, posting people's things up and telling them to get out of this and putting everyone to hysteria that they have to be out of my property now. There wasn't no horses there. Why? There's no business for me. But my business was going to start again. And I have a New York State license for being a horse dealer. The state of New York knows what I do. Chester doesn't care what I do. They gave me the exemption. That's a big deal. But they took me out of the exemption now. They all bullied me. They say I'm not a farm anymore. They took me out of the ag district. They told me that I can't be a farm anymore. They said, I can't, no work shall commence, until this is all worked out. So you're going to take my career away? You're going to take my life? And then the people that live there are allowed to break my windows and do whatever they want to do because the police come when they don't have heat and run sirens outside on Sunday mornings with the sirens running because they're saying, Mr. Bender, after I just had my ass operated, I'm sitting on the toilet. I can't answer the door right now. I can't. I just went to church. I just got home. I'm using the bathroom. I'm sorry that the heat is out there. But I have no control over that building because Karen decided she was going to, as the police advised her, just change the locks. No one's going to know. He ain't got no cameras there. I don't have any cameras there. I don't want to live under cameras. I don't like all that. I just want to let you all know I don't know what to do, and this office will not help you. No, this office will not help you. That's the town attorney. She will not help me. She won't do nothing for me. I mean, it's like weird. What do you want from me? I never did anything to the town. I pay my taxes every year. I didn't bother nobody. I improved the neighborhood. I made a beautiful property. I got wells and septics and everything. These people, listen, it's so abusive. Chester is so abusive in the building department. It's really bad. I have metal doors. I have 3 layers of sheetrock. For what? Why did I do all that? Why did I build a basement and a garage when no one can live in it? Why would anyone spend all that money on these big kitchens and everything I did? Because I'm told at the last minute, oh, no, you can't have that. And then you have to sign a paper if you don't have horses on the property for a year, they can just knock your building down. I mean, what are you talking about knocking my buildings down? Saying that they're not good. There's only a fire code in Chester that's in charge of the building. That's this man right here. But if I went to the state level, there's nothing there. I know I'm making it short and sweet. I'm going to end it right now. But my point is, no matter what I do as a landowner, and no matter how much grass I cut, and how many holes I dug, and how many houses I built, and how beautiful I made them, and no matter what, I might add everything in order there. Yeah, it's my property. It's my dreams. That's my valley. You know what I'm trying to say? It's my view. I've been there all these years. Why do people get to come onto my land and just start reorganizing my property? Like, what is that about? They do that to dry cleaners? Do they do that at the other groves down at the apple orchards? Do you have people that, are of the town with badges on and cameras and said, you move out of this apartment, you can move to that apartment? I'm not even there. I'm in a hospital and you're running my property. Now, if I say, I have never been given an order of remedy, I don't even know what you want from me. What is it I'm supposed to be doing? Evict these people. Well, I just want to know, if you already put these signs on, why can't the judge just sign that saying my property is so deemed uninhabitable? Why don't they just sign that and have the sheriff come and take and say, get out? I already signed restraining orders against them for being on the property. They're back on. I just don't understand. What's the reality? They just said they don't live here, and I'm closing my gates. They used to always be closed. I'm closing my gates. They don't work here. They don't live here. Why do I open the gates to let that officer? You were there. You were in the court case. You were there. How do I explain it to the judge? What's the difference between reality and insanity? This to me is insane. The whole thing. It just keeps going on and on and on. What am I supposed to do? I walk sometimes to get to work. Get to be here about 4 o'clock. Never heard my case until after 8 every time. Every time. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm walking from my house over here sick in the dead of winter to come every month to not know what do you want from me? And if I call you, why don't you take my call? I'm just asking. Why don't you take my call? Yeah, no, I want to know. I want to know why there's a town attorney who works for the town. I'm a town resident. I want to know why you all feel that you don't have to return my call unless I'm an attorney. That's really crazy. Because I'm never going to get an attorney because I don't have any more money for an attorney. There's no money for an attorney. So I don't know. Okay, my point's made. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I'll talk to you soon. And all due respect, I'm mental over the whole thing. I really do live in New York City in a shelter because I can't live here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public?
Is there any other comments during the public hearing? Is
Before,
there anything online, Michelle?
no. Before we close, I'd like to do two things. Andrew, if you wouldn't mind coming back up to the podium real quickly, please. As the board is aware, Ms. Bercanti, who served as the previous building inspector, is no longer in the service of the town. We do, however, have her reports of inspection. Andrew, I'd like to hand this to you. Is this a true and accurate copy of her inspection report? As in the file?
Yes.
And could you just read the date of that for me?
10/19/22.
Thank you. And I'll add that to the board's record. I do want to put on the record, I was asked directly why I did not return Mr. Bender's telephone call, which I do acknowledge receipt of a telephone call. As the appointed special prosecutor, I have certain ethics rules and requirements with respect to communicating with defendants. I did not return the call as Mr. Bender was a defendant in a criminal case for those reasons. So at this point, given the board's agenda, I would respectfully request the board adopt a motion today to close the public hearing and reserve decision on the unsafe building proceedings. That way we can move on with the rest of our meeting, and then I can advise the board and review the evidence that has been presented by both the public as well as your building inspector, and the board can evaluate what decision it would like to make going forward with respect to the unsafe building proceedings. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
So basically, all of the documentation that we have in a file has all gone to this property prior to, I guess you're not going to know what Alexa did, but anything that you've done, have you set forward any violations to this property?
Yeah,
everything I've sent is right here. Okay.
That violation is listed as Exhibit A.
Okay.
A, excuse
So
me,
that's a
exhibit-
violation that came from the town through Andrew for this
Correct.
property as per
Correct.
things that have taken place recently and in the past.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
May I, Liz, ask, the last set of documents, those inspection reports, is that part of an exhibit?
That's exhibit, not the document I just referred to.
Yes.
Alexa Bercanti's report of inspection dated 10/19/2022. I've marked as exhibit 9, and it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 pages.
Is there a motion as stated by our town attorney?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What's the language for the other part of this?
And I said reserve.
Thank you, Andrew.
Is there a motion to reserve judgment?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Public hearing's closed. More on this, I guess, at the next available town board meeting. Is there a motion to go into executive session for personnel?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How you doing, Pat?
Linda, what I'm gonna do is after the meeting,
Truth?
I'm gonna put this in order, I'm gonna make a photocopy for me and then give you the rest. So that way, my math, my should.
As I'm being retired, I never thought I'd say this. I need a vacation.
Get out of here.
Michelle, let us know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're out of executive session. We're going to head into reports. I see that we have the chairwoman of the Conservation Advisory Council here. She's teleported over from that side of the room to this side of the room. If you want to step right up.
Sure. Thank you so much. So my name again is Martine Di Pasquale, and good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Today, the annual report of the Chester Conservation Advisory Council is before you, and it represents the work that we've undertaken over the last year. In it, you'll see that in addition to providing, and this actually comes out of that report, in addition to providing recommendations to the town board on matters related to policy and educational programming, like pricing of the EV charging in the town. And yeah, we used local pricing data and recommended that the town maintain the current 35 cents per kilowatt hour rate for the charging stations. Also provided information calculating the town of Chester's operations for the greenhouse gas inventory. That was done as part of the Climate Smart Communities effort. And through analysis of that, found that the town had emitted roughly 360 tons of CO2, with most of the energy consumption coming from transportation, heating, and electricity. And made a number of recommendations: electrifying the fleet as it ages, sharing information publicly about the effort to reduce CO2, conduct an energy efficiency audit throughout town facilities, and try and stay up on what other towns of similar size are emitting, so that we can sort of be within range of what is projected to be our goal before 2030 or 2040. That we consider solar options for town facilities, and on the lighthearted side, recommended that the town and village work together to form a tree commission. And so, also falling within our mandate and general scope of work, the Chester Conservation Advisory Council also took its first action related to local development in response to community residents' concerns about potential peril to trees from a proposed land development. Members visited their property and submitted recommendations as part of a public hearing, environmental assessment report with data and specific code references to the Town of Chester Planning Board. Each member of the council, of the Chester Conservation Advisory Council, brings both personal and professional experiences to bear in navigating its work. And the CAC is able, therefore, to leverage all of the available talent to increase both knowledge and understanding of important environmental and conservation-related issues. And of greatest concern to the members of the Conservation Advisory Council are the mitigation of the effects of climate change, land development decisions which negatively impact the local environment and natural resources, being wetlands, trees, aquifers, open spaces, etc., as well as the wells of neighboring homeowners to proposed projects. And we're also seeking to protect historical places, resources, and the richness of the natural environment, which give Chester its rural character. And so in keeping with that concern, the CCAC has also strongly recommended the formation of a stewardship and master plan committee for Knapp's View. Knapp's View, like Sugarloaf, is a green jewel in Chester's landscape. It is an open space that deserves public attention to protect it and preserve it for generations to come. And though members of the Conservation Advisory Council may interact and engage in good faith discussions with ecologists and other subject matter experts of varying experiences in the development of proposals, whether for projects or for grants or other things, or for public input and community decision-making, the Advisory Council has never and will never take any action, which would be a vote of support, for anything that would damage any open spaces, properties, or other resources in the name of restoration, preservation, or conservation. And the air quotes being false, right? So if you're pretending you're doing one thing, but you're really doing something else, that's not something that you should expect to come from the Chester Conservation Advisory Council. I would say, in our discussions, while they are highly professional and very reserved, we have great engagement, and I would categorize my colleagues on that board as quiet pit bulls. So you would never see anything coming out of us that would be supportive of anything that would destroy open spaces or any property in Chester. And so we are a body formed as an advisory group to the town board on matters relating to the protection and management of open spaces, natural areas, and other environmental issues. And we're fully authorized to conduct surveys, studies, and inventories of natural and physical features within Chester. Any assertions to the contrary of that statement that I just made are considered by members of the Chester Conservation Advisory Council to be made in bad faith. They are distortions and are intentional misrepresentations of our work. In plain language, those types of assertions should be considered lies. The Chester Conservation Advisory Council members are volunteers, neighbors from across Chester, who have committed to work together in order to serve the common interest of the larger community of Chester, which is to keep it a rural community with protections for its natural resources and the types of policies and regulations in place which support it so that it is not overrun by bad projects, bad initiatives, bad development projects, which negatively impact or could negatively impact quality of life and the environment. And so I invite you to really, take pride in that annual report. It's just the beginning. We just launched last year, and you should expect that 2025 will be an amazing year. We will do more. We'll probably get into a lot of trouble trying to do more, but we're going to do it. And it will be, I think, probably the best startup of any local group that has so many different areas that impact so many different agencies and the lives of the members and the residents of Chester. So I hope that you'll be proud of our work. We are proud of the work that we did in 2024. And so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, feel free to, call,
Please stay out of
email.
trouble.
Stay out of trouble. We'll try, but we can't guarantee it. But
Yeah,
it'll be good trouble.
get into good trouble. I'm personally proud of the work that your group has been able to put together as an early adopter of this whole idea with EJ a couple years ago and everything. This is, I really couldn't have think this would have gone better and everything. This has been great. And I want you guys to keep on doing what you're doing and try to drown out the noise as best as possible because you guys really are doing really great work. And I hope I can speak for everybody up on this board when I say that we're here to support you guys in doing that good work. So.
Oh, and I'll just piggyback on that. I've had the opportunity to go to a couple of the meetings, and there is a high level discussion each time you're there. It's not just a bunch of people sitting in a room. So, and it's just this. I think we're going to see a lot of good things in the future come from it.
Yep.
That means a lot.
I think we just got to stay the course and again ignore the background noise because that's all it is.
We're going to keep the faith and keep moving forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Martine.
Thank you.
All right. In the interest of time, all the other reports are going to be available online to be read. We have a work session coming up in just a few minutes that we're probably going to bleed into. But just one report that I did want to highlight was the Jewish Family Services friendly visitor program, the senior independence program report. Everybody should have received a copy of that. But it is on there. So if anybody is interested, they can go out and take a look on it. That should be online. This is the first month, or we're now in the second month of the services being active. So please feel free to go look at that. But all reports should be found online. And that, Linda, that CAC International, I'm sorry, the 2024 annual report, that'll be on their tab specifically,
I'll
correct?
post it there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
And I'll be submitting it to the state. Otherwise, the reports will be
In the minutes.
embedded in the minutes.
All reports will be in the minutes. All right. So moving forward with the Sugarloaf Arts Collective Arts exhibition, damn it, proposal. Come on.
Say that again.
Yeah, no.
I won't be able to say it either now.
I'm guessing that the proposal for this was sent to you guys, and maybe you guys have seen it. So I'm going to continue from where we left off with the proposal. So what this is generally, this is a combination of two things. So we're working to try to increase usership of the Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center, in ways that don't impact people buying tickets or impact the economy of the theater, but do allow people access to the theater, allow, have a usage of the theater that will maybe increase rentals and have people in there during the week and just create exposure to the space. The other side of this is, as we created the Sugarloaf Arts Collective, we've created a relationship with some of the county organizations like the Orange County Arts Council. So in meeting with the Orange County Arts Council about ways to have the Sugarloaf Arts Collective get some culture and some art in there on a regular basis, we were able to take a look at the gallery, which is the bar room at the theater, and just kind of walk around the space a little bit and say, this used to be used as a gallery. Why isn't it used as a gallery anymore? Which there was a whole host of reasons why. We found that most of those reasons don't apply to it now. And we started having some real discussions about the space. And what kind of gave us the last part to this idea, I have joined the board of trustees of Vision Hudson Valley, which is at the Seligman Center. And one of the committees that I've joined is capturing the work of Kurt Seligman that's in the Seligman house that's there. So we had some discussions about the usage of that artwork, being that we have a legacy artist who's from Sugarloaf here, and that art is rarely displayed and could be displayed at the theater. So we were able to kind of get these three entities, the Sugarloaf Arts Collective, the Orange County Arts Council, and Vision Hudson Valley all on board with this project. So the idea is kind of simple. The gallery is pretty much prepped to put art in it already. It has the rigging installed inside. I don't know if you guys are familiar at all with the overhead lighting. The overhead lighting in that room comes from the center of the ceiling so it can point at the walls. It was made to be an art installation. So the Orange County Arts Council has kind of taken on in this grouping of organizations, has taken on the responsibility of finding local artists, some from Chester, some from Sugarloaf, some from other areas of the county, and organizing art exhibitions. Vision Hudson Valley would provide Kurt Seligman's work in some level, which we would designate. And then the Sugarloaf Arts Collective would staff the gallery as is needed, would deal with the costs associated with mounting art, moving art, taking care of the art. We also would have the liability covered under the Sugarloaf Arts Collective for the art that is there. So we created a process which is in the document, which I'm not going to read through, but where the county would provide us with art exhibitions. We would install them. We would care for them. We would provide for the access to them, and then we have a preliminary agreement in there for proceeds made from the gallery and proceeds from the sale of art that goes into the gallery would be worked out with the town. And so if anybody's selling art that's in there, a percentage of it will go directly to the town for allowing the usage of the space. that's basically the idea. So we would love you guys to consider that proposal. I know that Todd Hewlett and I have put in like a substantial amount of work trying to work this out. And before we even came to you guys with it, we were able to get some artists on board. It's something that we could do, nearly immediately. I know that the room was just newly painted as of this weekend, so it's in good shape. And it's ready.
How would you bring people into this through some type of advertising, or how would people know about this?
So there is an advertising campaign that we had standing by for some of the discussions having to do with the weekday rentals that Bob, Courtney, and I had been working on from the past, that I think we would transition into a gallery advertising campaign. So there would be a cost to that, but we would take that cost. And I think that it can be combined with the ideas of getting people in there during the week. The biggest overall part of this is just having people that might not have come to the theater anyway, that perhaps would not have bought a ticket to come to a show because there's a your wallet determines whether or not you can have access.
Yeah.
Now on a Monday afternoon between 2 and 6 p.m. when we already are staffing, the box office, they would be able to have access to the space. So to the gallery space specifically. So we would advertise it, hopefully alongside some other things that we're advertising, which would also be helping get more people and get more rentals into the space. So
with the rentals, how would that affect the art that's there? Would you take that down during rentals? What would happen with that?
that's a good question. So the focus is that any art that's in there that goes into the space has a couple of prerequisites to the art. Obviously, we're not looking at having art in there that has a very high cost to the art, right? Because if it gets damaged or whatever. If a rental needed the art removed, which in our finding, very few rentals need stuff removed from that bar room, from the walls. But if it did, we would remove it and we would store it. So I think that would probably be pretty rare, especially in the gallery area. So that's the answer for
Thank you
for that.
So how do you see us moving forward with this? This is like a proposal of sorts, yes, but it's not really like this is the contract and everything. So
Sure.
How do you, I guess, are you just here to see if we're even interested in this idea before we move forward with something more solid?
Yeah, I think if you guys tell me what you need from us and from the three entities involved, from Orange County Arts Council, the Sugarloaf Arts Collective, and Vision Hudson Valley, we're ready to present something more formative than this. You just tell us what you would need.
Yeah, I think that there'll be a discussion between probably Walt, who I just saw walk in, and our attorney and the rest of the board.
Always bring in the attorney.
Of course. No, that's.
But
specifically the art, I think, and the liability to the art is.
Yeah, no, I think I'd be interested in this idea. I think it's a great idea to use the space. I don't know about the rest of the board.
I think, again, it's just about, and I've been talking about it, about getting boots on the ground during the week in there. And, I know there's a lot of discussion on the future of it, but I think we got to live in the moment right now. And I think we got to experiment anything we can to try to get boots through that building.
Yep.
I mean, we have paying people to be there. There's no reason why we can't during the day. It wouldn't be a financial cost to us to do it. A big financial cost. You can talk about the electric being on. I mean, that's going to be a couple of dollars, but other than that, you have the employees there. So
we're starting to do Wednesday shows during the day in the space, and they're bus trips primarily for seniors from different residences around the area. But I think that having an art gallery there might actually really help.
An extra attraction.
Yeah, because they're looking for time. They want to spend a certain amount of time in Sugarloaf. So if we're able to say, hey, you're going to have this amount of time to this amount of time to go into the Hamlet and shop, you'll have this amount of time in the gallery, and then you'll have your show. That I think that could help us.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thank you.
I don't hear any negative stuff going on up here. So I think let's move forward with let's continue to have a conversation. If you guys have a draft of a contract that you'd like to show us, I think that'd be a good starting point.
Perfect.
Okay.
We'll do our best to get something together. And I will admit this, we'll need a little bit of guidance from Liz
The attorney.
about like what parts to focus on contractually, but
Okay.
we'll,
And I think too, we're having some other broader discussions on Sugarloaf in the next few minutes. So
Yeah.
I'll probably have a lot of drafting work to do. So I think this all ties into that. So
Yep.
I can certainly touch base as we go move through those discussions and the board and our board has some policies to set. So we can have further discussions on that.
All right.
Thank you,
Sound
Matt.
good?
thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's try to flip through this other stuff here. Police department request to purchase the 2024 Chevy Tahoe PPV 4WD PD vehicle at $54,000. It was budgeted for in the 2025 budget. Are there any questions or comments on this?
I just have a quick comment on this. I certainly have no problem with you replacing the vehicle. It's budgeted and it's needed, and I have no issue with that. The only thing I would have to have the board consider, if not for this, but at least in the future, for future vehicles, is that, you mentioned, Brandon, a few weeks ago when you presented your agenda, that we're always looking for cost savings. Now, the only discussion that's been had in the past, for the most part, is that the difference in price between the Ford Explorer versus the Tahoe is that, the Tahoe costs $4,000 more, and when you trade them in, they get some money back. Never got a number on that. I figure it's probably $1,500 to $2,000. But the thing that has never been discussed is the operating cost between the two vehicles. The Tahoe is a bigger vehicle. It's what the police prefer, and I understand that. It's a little bigger, a little roomier. I understand that, but the chief has clearly stated that the Explorer meets the needs of the police department. But if you look at the operating cost, which is primarily, it's a fuel economy over 135,000 miles, between the difference of the fuel economy of the Explorer versus Tahoe, you're talking about $5,000 over the life. So that tacks on to the cost of the vehicle. There's a savings, and there's 14 police vehicles. So I would say in the future, we need to consider operating costs and everything else when we make a decision on whatever police vehicle we're going with. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to purchase the 2024 Tahoe PPV four-wheel drive PD vehicle for $54,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdred,
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger,
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right, building moratorium waiver for SBL 416.22 Pond Road property. Liz, do you want to say something about this?
I do. At our last board meeting, after discussion, the board directed me to prepare a resolution authorizing a waiver of the building moratorium, which is in your local law 1 of 2024. I have prepared a resolution. I did circulate, provided to Linda for the file a copy of the EAF, which is the environmental assessment form that was previously submitted to the planning board. And I'm relying on that document. Whereas the Town of Chester Town Board adopted local law 1 of 2024, a local law instituting a moratorium on certain permits, certificates of occupancy, and approvals for certain development, whereby it put a halt on certain development activities so a comprehensive plan and zoning amendment could be considered. And whereas said local law provides for administrative relief, and whereas Brian Lenges on behalf of the Bell Station Corp. Has applied for a waiver to allow a development application seeking to construct a warehouse and office building together with associated parking and stormwater facilities on lot 4-1-6.22 as shown on the Town of Chester tax map. And whereas granting a waiver pursuant to local law 1 of 2024 is an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas the town board has received and reviewed a short environmental assessment form dated September 14th, 2023. And now therefore be it resolved that after considering the submitted materials, the town board makes the following findings. 1, that the applicant has demonstrated an irreparable harm if the subject property remains subject to the moratorium. 2, that granting the waiver pursuant to local law 1 of 2024 will not in and of itself result in an adverse environmental impact, provided the planning board undertakes a full review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. 3, at present, the town board is unable to identify any recommendations within the draft comprehensive plan that if implemented would prohibit the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby grants a moratorium to, a waiver to the moratorium subject to the following terms and conditions. 1, the project shall be subject to any and all applicable review by the Town of Chester Planning Board, including a complete seeker review. 2, application shall be subject to any changes to the comprehensive plan, zoning, or other relevant provisions of the Town of Chester Code that may occur between now and final approval of the project. Applicant assumes the risk that relevant zoning laws may be changed prior to approval. Is there any-
Thank you, Liz. Are there any questions or comments on this?
No.
All right, is there a motion to approve the waiver?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a
Second.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Montasana,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney,
Aye.
Councilmember Dyson.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Moving on to the pickup. This is for a Ford F-350 at $47,491.89. This is to replace a former pickup truck. This is coming in well under budget, which is nice to hear. Are there any comments or questions on this?
No.
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the request?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Warwick Ridge 2 letter of credit release.
So this is the development project. The applicant previously provided a letter of credit to secure improvements. Essentially, it's a street opening. The applicant has finished that work. Your superintendent has provided a letter recommending release of the line of credit because the work is done and security is no longer needed. And so the board should release the letter of credit by a resolution.
Are there any comments or questions on that?
No.
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion
I'll make the motion.
Second.
to accept as read by our town attorney?
Yes.
All right. Is there is a motion and a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. I say that we should just move this discussion on Knapp's View to the end of the work session that we're supposed to be in as of 10 minutes ago. Are there any comments or is there anything wrong with that?
No.
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 Seeing none. Motion to table.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's tabled. New business. Highway Department request to purchase the $6,415.50 of plow blades and shoes. Everybody got that request. Are there
Yes.
any comments or questions?
No.
I have no problem with this. The only comment I'd make on it, what was quoted in the invoice is totally nondescript. You have no idea what is being provided, no make or model or anything, no quantities in there. It's there's no way of telling what you're getting. So, for future reference, I think we need to make sure the highway department, when they put something out, they need to make sure the town board has the information it needs to prove something.
Yeah. I did reach out to John in reference to this, and the purchase price will cover, according to him, most of what they will need for the year in these products. So hopefully that suffices a little bit.
Okay. Are there any further comments or questions?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to accept the request?
I'll make
Motion.
the Larry got
There's
the
a
motion. I'll
motion.
second it.
And a second by Dysinger and Becker. Is all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We need to set a public presentation/hearing for our next meeting. I want to give the public another final opportunity to to talk about their feelings on the proposed project for Sugarloaf, the sidewalks and other pedestrian-friendly improvements that we're supposed to be making to the road. At the next meeting, February 26th at 6:45. Any comments or questions on that?
No.
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to set the public presentation/hearing for that time?
I'll make the motion.
And I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One more piece of new business. Everyone got a email this morning from our comptroller in terms of budget amendments for 2024.
Yes,
If
Yep.
everyone is comfortable, I'd like to just pass those budget amendments now for new business.
yes.
Just minor cleanups here. I'm not going to go through the credit and debits because that will take a while, but town board equipment in the amount of $900 is being switched around. Town board contractual in the amount of $4,806. Justice personnel services, $10,005. Justice personal services at $91. And that was all in the general fund. In the part-town fund, police building contractual, $2,782. Police contractual, $5,632. And finally, in the Sugarloaf Water District, Sugarloaf admin expenses, $5,085. And then finally, Sugarloaf transportation and distribution contractual expense, $62. Are there any comments or questions on these?
No,
Seeing none, is there a motion to pass the amendments as stated?
motion.
There's a motion and a second. All
I'll
those,
second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The amendments have been accepted. Is there any other new business at this time?
Just one thing I'll bring, I did have a report, but I'll save it for the next meeting, but I did want to mention to this board that during the village board meeting this past Monday, they approved giving water to the Greens of Chester. That was part of their meeting.
They approved the
They
water
approved-
from the village aquifer to be given to Greens of
Yeah,
Chester?
They will be servicing the Greens of Chester with village water.
Got it. And they've already signed a contract? Or they just have like a preliminary agreement?
I think they have preliminary agreement, but that may have been them. I think they have agreement put together. I think that was the authorization for the mayor to, I didn't get to go to the meeting, but that's my understanding.
Got it. And I'm guessing, have you notified Andrew? Because I'm sure he's gonna have to.
I did not, I don't think this is going to happen like now, like
Now.
like yesterday. They
Yeah.
have a lot of work to do for connections and everything else, water main extension and water main replacement. So a tie-in is going to take quite a bit of time, and so it's not going to happen overnight.
it will open the floodgates though, with the building department.
Mhm. Okay.
In the future.
All right. Is there any other new business?
No.
No.
All right. Is there any public comment for the end of the meeting? Nope. Any public comment online? No. Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. We are going to be